I'm stuck in fairy mode because of Uma Musume. I just wanted to say that before starting the video, stating it. If I look different in the thumbnail, you know why that is. But anyways, hello YouTube. We're going to be watching the Mugen video about the chaotic history of the horse game that took over the world. Uma Musume has been all over my timelines. All my friends are playing it. I gave it a shot. It's pretty good. It was a fantastic stream, but I am going to be watching this video and figuring out why is the game taking over the world.
Meet Jiankui He, a Chinese scientist who had created a genetically modified baby, breaking every ethical law regarding genetic research and being sentenced to jail for 3 years back in 2019. After being released, he would somewhat disappear for a while until he got access to social media, most namely Twitter. And in classic supervillain fashion, he would tweet out, "Every pioneer or prophet must suffer," while staring intently at the camera.
I did not expect an Uma Musume video to start like this. What the heck am I getting into?
While continuing his genetic research like nothing had happened. This would of course make him go viral, but what were people's reactions here? Were they shocked? Were they outraged? Were they scared? No, they kept spamming him, pestering him even, with one request. Eventually, there will be so many people requesting the same thing that he had to make an entire post responding to it, saying, "Stop asking for cat girls, I'm trying to cure disease." This dude was sentenced to jail for creating genetically modified babies.
Okay, no. Okay, I'm going to be part of the riot. Please make genetically engineered cat girls. I'm over here with a VTuber model hoping that someday I will be able to be a genetically engineered cat girl.
And forging the ethical paperwork. But the only thing people were concerned with was cat girls. Yeah, I mean, it comes as no surprise, guys. Anime girls have taken over the world. But look, if the movie Ratatouille has taught me anything in life, it's that things are better when combined together. And so some of the most intelligent people on planet Earth saw cats and thought, wow, this is really cute and adorable, like anime girls. Why don't we combine them and create cat girls? The result? A massive success. This, of course, made even more people think, until a particular group of people came up with a very interesting idea. They thought, well, look, humans love cats, right? I'm sure they love dogs too, but what's one animal that's been with us since the beginning? An animal humans share a very important bond with.
An animal.
Horses.
Birds.
So listen to this genius idea, right? What if we took anime girls and gave them horse ears and horse tails? Then we would put all these cute anime horse girls together on a track and have them race just like horses do during horse races. But get this, okay? Things don't end here, because these horse girls are living a double life. When they're not racing on the horse track, they're idols, dancing and singing in top-tier performances to a massive audience.
I find that a little odd. You know what? I think Muji was about to say it too, because I understand that Japan loves idols and Japan loves horse racing. Why not combine them? But I realize if you're training to be a horse for racing, why do you want to be an idol? I mean, it's perfect promotion. Okay, that makes sense. I'm only correcting my own question in here, little by little. Also, thank you for the follow.
Sounds absolutely insane.
How do they have the lung capacity for all that?
Girls, anime horse girls racing on a track. You've got to be shit.
Apparently, they're very tall or very strong too.
And horse girls in a gacha game, you won't find anyone to play this. Nope, I was severely wrong. Look at this chart just on Steam, with a peak of 87,000 people playing at the same time. That's not all though. The game hasn't even been out for 1 month globally and has already reached over 1 million downloads on the Google Play Store. Still not surprised? The game has gotten so popular
made by Cygames, same people who made Regalia Lost.
Game on the platform to claim the #1 spot for most downloaded games in this current period.
Energy and choreography, right?
Fine, maybe it's like this mass hysteria going on. Maybe this concept is so ridiculous people downloaded it, but then realized, it's not really for me, right? Look at these reviews. 94% very positive, with almost 15,000 reviews on Steam. This game didn't just get downloaded a lot, it's now critically acclaimed. But if you're still somehow not shocked yet, well, get this. Gacha games are typically liked by a very specific demographic. Young adults who usually love anime. When it came to this horse girl gacha racing game though, it reached children, their parents, and their grandparents, doing the impossible and targeting every single conceivable demographic. Guys, it doesn't matter where you go.
Chat, my mom plays gacha games, but I told her not to put the credit card ever in the cell phone.
the metro, the airport, your office, you will most likely see someone playing this on their phone. I say this with no exaggeration. Uma Musume Pretty Derby has taken over the planet. And I haven't seen a gacha game do this since
Hi,
Genshin
Natsu.
Impact back during the pandemic. But if this still doesn't shock you for whatever reason, then get ready to get sucker punched in the face. Because
Lucky
that's
Star,
exactly
baby.
what happened to me when I started seeing headlines like this. Uma Musume developer Cygames is a title sponsor for Grand Prix de Paris, a prestigious horse racing event founded
Whoa,
in
Mojang knows French? That was fluent.
1863. An event being held for almost 2 centuries. And their logo just happens to be on an image of an anime girl that is also a horse. What the fuck is going on? And how did we get here? Well,
It's small
none of
things
it
in
was
life that gives me
straightforward,
joy.
and this game almost failed to release. Uma Musume Pretty Derby has a somewhat chaotic but also very interesting history. And seeing how it's practically dominated the world, I figured we need to talk about it. So let's do this. Man, horses are such silly animals, but you know what other animals I like? Warships, warplanes, and war tanks, baby.
Are we talking about
And the
anime
best part about this is that I
warships?
can find all these vehicles and
Oh, no, it's a sponsor.
2,500 other variations in War Thunder, a vehicle combat game
What's it
so
called?
comprehensive and detailed that it has over 70
Collection?
million players on all platforms, including PC, consoles, and
Azure
mobile
Lane?
devices. These vehicles are as detailed as possible, and they span multiple eras. You can then customize these vehicles to your liking. This leads us to my favorite thing about War Thunder, the fact that there are no
I'm going to
simple
become a
vehicles.
tank VTuber.
Every vehicle has engines,
There's gotta-
tanks,
wait, is there a
weapons,
tank
and crew.
VTuber?
That's the level of detail we're dealing with here. But wait, it gets better, because if
There's
you're
gotta be a
new
tank
player or
VTuber out
returning
there.
player who hasn't played the game in over 6
Oh,
months,
yeah.
you get free premium
Their name
vehicles,
is Cordia.
100,000
Cordia is a
silver
tank.
lions, 7 days of premium account, and much more available for PC and consoles. So if you're interested, make sure to get the game for free by clicking the link in the description or the pinned comment.
Can
Thanks so
tell,
much
who's
for
the tank
sponsoring
VTuber?
this video. All right, guys, by now, you know the drill.
What's a
To
good
really
morning,
understand
umbrella?
the significance of all this, we need context. And in this case, it's going to be a little history lesson. And we're going all the way back to the year 1603, the beginning
The
of
Uma
the
Musume
Tokugawa
lore
period,
goes
otherwise
really
known
deep.
as the Edo period. This period would be the most traditional period in Japan, mostly because it would be incredibly isolated from the rest of the world. The people in power at the time feared outside influence. In fact, their biggest fear was Christianity. You'd have missionaries from
What the
European
heck?
countries come in to spread the gospel, and people were converting fast. The Japanese leaders saw this.
Are we still in the part that this is Uma Musume lore? Yes, it is. We are going back to ancient ancient civilization at this point. There are fighter jet VTubers and tank VTubers. I actually been called a fighter jet VTuber. People think that I am because my 2D form has a very big cape. If you have seen it, yes, it's I've been told that I fit in that the Edo period Musume. Somewhere in here in the crowd, there's Gold Chip kicking people.
As a way for Europe to slowly take control of Japan, so they took extreme measures.
And
They
apparently
completely
also
locked down the
Uma
country,
Musume
except
is like
for a select few traders who only had
controlled by the
access to
Yakuza or
specific
something?
ports. Japanese
Are we
people
getting
were
to that
not
part?
allowed to leave Japan, and if they did, they wouldn't be allowed back. And more importantly, Christianity was outlawed. The shogunate took extreme measures and massacred over 37,000
Official
Japanese
sponsors of the
Christians,
Yakuza.
making it go almost extinct in Japan and ruling for over 2 centuries. This would
I have
all
Gundam
change
ears.
in
I should make a fighter jet.
1868,
Yes, I
when
will.
the Tokugawa shogunate would lose its power and the Meiji Restoration would take its place. One could say that this period was the opposite of the Tokugawa shogunate's military rule, completely opening up the country, technologically advancing very quickly, and fully embracing the idea of an industrialized nation that can compete with Europe and North America. That way, they don't face the threat of colonization. During this new era, you'd start seeing more foreigners in Japan, like British and Americans, specifically around port towns. Their numbers would start becoming significant to the point where they'd start having their own communities built around those port towns. This is where, to kill time, Westerners would start playing the sports they knew, like rugby, cricket, and of course, baseball, which is now the most popular sport in Japan today. But according to the 500-page book titled Routledge Companion to Sports History, which outlines the origins of sports all around the world, horse racing in Japan was introduced as early as 1862 by those same Westerners. And within just 8 years, the first jockey club in Kobe was formed in 1870. You see, the Japanese,
Jockey.
much like the
Hey,
rest
there
of
we
the
go.
world, also had
Finally,
special
we're getting to
connection
horse
horses.
racing.
They also loved the idea of entertainment. So they latched onto the sport very quickly, as you can see from this old drawing.
This is the
Japanese
Kenshin
people are
era?
on their
Okay.
horses about to race, but the people organizing it can be seen on the left here. and they're foreigners, they're Westerners.
That's
Today,
me.
it's seen as
That's
a
the
prestigious sport,
that's the
with
player,
Japan
the
Cup
trainer
having
in
some of the
Uma
highest
Musume.
prize pools on the planet, and the Japanese taking the sport very seriously, wanting to compete on even footing with foreign horses. Right now, the prize pool for the Japan Cup is about $8.3 million, with first place claiming $3.8 million. And even though horse racing was seen as such an important sport in Japan, there was a problem. Interest was kind of waning. When you go to a horse track, you'd mostly see men who are in the older demographics. You wouldn't see teenagers, young adults, kids, or even women that much. In a way, if things kept going
We
this
need
way,
more
then the
children to do alcohol and gambling. That's the point of this video. I see.
sport would have probably died out in a couple of generations. It was simply seen as too old-fashioned. But all of this would change when a particular studio came up with a ridiculous idea.
Oh wait, there it is.
Actually,
That's
that
how you do
almost
it.
ruined their company's reputation and potentially could have bankrupted them. I'm of course talking about Uma Musume Pretty Derby.
How do we get children to do gambling? Video games.
Cyber Agent is a Japanese company that was founded in 1998. They started out as a digital advertising company, but in 2011 they decided
I was
to
not
expand
wrong when I
into
said
the
that.
ever-growing video game market. This is when they would create Cygames, a video game development studio. Cyber Agent would own the majority of the shares of Cygames, but sell a few to other companies, like for example, Nintendo, who owns 5% of Cygames. They would go on to create some pretty well-received games, like Shadowverse, a digital collectible card game, and of course, Grand Blue Fantasy.
I've been asked a lot about Shadowverse.
Cygames' most important game would end up being one of the first ones they'd ever release in 2011, titled The Idolmaster Cinderella Girls. This game would be a part of the massive franchise known as The Idolmaster, owned by Bandai Namco, with the first ever game coming out in 2005. Many games for this franchise would release, and in 2011, that's when Cygames would release The Idolmaster Cinderella Girls. They made this on behalf of Bandai Namco. What was special about this game is that it was made for mobile phones. Back in 2011, Namco was seeing the rise of mobile games, and so that's when they asked Cygames to help. The premise was simple. You'd collect a bunch of idol girls and you would train them, raising their stats through lessons.
Training
You would
girls.
then be able to do a number
Just
of
like
things,
real life.
customize their outfits, and even spend money on cosmetics. There would also be many
I need
different
to be
minigames,
trained
including a multiplayer game
to be
mode
the
where you
perfect
can
VTuber.
fight other players. The player with the most stats wins. Overall, it was simple, but extremely successful. This game was earning more than 1 billion yen a month. Back then, that was around $13 million. It was revealed that more than 75% of players who got the game chose to pay for either in-game items or energy in order to play more. And according to this article, in August 2012, the game had made 9
Holy
million
smokes.
USD, which is more than the cost of developing the game. This game was making more money monthly than it cost to make. And all it did was just feature a bunch of idols that you trained, upped their stats, and got them different outfits. But you see, Bandai Namco is truly taking this franchise to the next level. It started as an arcade game, they made a mobile game, and they also made a manga as well as an anime that adapted that same manga. They were essentially using this franchise to build a media empire, and it was working very damn well. They would continue to hire more developers to create
Oh
more
my
entries
God.
in this franchise, and the most recent release would be in 2024, so it's still doing pretty damn well.
Double
This is when
traceable.
Cygames would have some sort of an
I'm
epiphany.
glad people
Even
like
though
the
this was
model. Thank you,
owned by
Cordius.
Bandai Namco, they were the
Thank you
ones
so
who
much.
made this extremely successful game. And I mean, it
I need
made
to make a
sense.
horse model.
Why wouldn't a game like that be a success? The
Sane
idol
horse
industry in
win.
Japan is probably one of the biggest, most successful industries in entertainment. It
Sooner than you
involved
think,
finding
probably.
someone young with talent, absolutely destroying their lives with ridiculously rigid training and extremely unrealistic expectations. And once they get enough popularity,
Idol culture
this when
is
you would milk
wacky.
their fans with a bunch of different media and merchandise. People will do anything for their idols. They'll literally buy a photo album of them, okay?
Okay. I was almost say like can the idol community be normal, please? Like the person is already very talented. Why do you have to push them to the extreme limits? Managers, please stop pushing your idols to the extreme limits. Fans, please stop being absolutely pushy towards the idols as well. Sane Horse when, aka the source. Ayo. I've been asking for Sane Horse for a year. Okay, I will do Sane Horse this week. Mark it or call me out. I will create Sane Horse.
This is why the idol industry is such a money printing machine. But here's a fun fact for you. When it comes to horse racing in the West, certain jockeys, who are the horse riders, might have fans. Sure, the horses that they ride also might have fans. But it wasn't
It's unfortunate,
anything crazy.
Raven.
In Japan, on the
They're
other
pushing.
hand, The horses had
Saint La
fans, all
Yegua.
right. They had their own merch. They were recognized by name. Some even had superstitions made around them. I mean, this is just a talent Japanese people have to idolize anything they like.
Dios
and as
mío.
much as this sounded ridiculous, there was big market potential here. Cygames had
Gold
made a very
chip!
successful idol game, and yet
Gold chip merchandise. Where's the anime though? Where's the cute anime girl here about to kick me on the face? They got plushies. Yo, I need a plushie of gold chip. It looks so autistic. This horse is the best. And I say that with the most compliment in the world. I love me a silly horse. Have you seen the faces of gold chip? It's just sitting in a threatening position. Idol culture is monopolistic, unfortunately. Or are they monopolizing the horses as well? Gochi. Saint will hire James Baxter to draw Saint Horse confirmed. I will do it myself.
horse racing was a deeply historical aspect of Japanese culture while also having those same idol traits. You know what else is interesting? When it comes to entertainment, the idol industry is very profitable, sure, but one thing Japanese people love to do is gamble, baby. A Japanese person not knowing pachinko
Gamba.
is like an American not knowing what a burger is. At this point, it's practically cultural. I mean, look, it goes without saying that horse racing was very popular in Japan because of the whole gambling aspect of it, and now you can gamble on a simulated horse race. It's not even real. And you place your bets on this spaceship-looking machine, bro. This looks insane. That's how much they love it. And finally, just like how idols and gambling
That's
are
insane.
huge in the entertainment industry in Japan, we can't forget
All
to
in
talk about
red.
anime. And in the early 2000s,
All in red, just like Bishojo did with $500,000. All in red, baby. In terms of money, we have none.
many artists were having the amazing idea of giving anime girls cat ears or just small animal features. Not to mention that there were already examples in media taking this a step further.
Oh, look, it's me.
Instead of giving them animal features, they would give them features of objects. Like how the game Azur Lane has you collect these hot anime women that are meant to be World War II battleships. I'm not even joking, bro. Look,
Oh my
this
God.
woman's called Azuma, and she's part of the large cruiser category. She's stationed in
I
the
love
camp
Japan.
Sakura Islands. This is meant to be a battleship, bro, like an actual boat. You understand? And man, does she have some big cannons? Let me tell you that much. So I don't know who the genius at Cygames was, bro. It could be the CEO, it could be a producer. Someone had the brilliant idea to sit everyone down and say, hey, what if we combined all these elements together, right? For the gambling, we make a gacha game. For the anthropomorphic
I wasn't
cat
staring
part,
at the
we
feed.
made horse
Shut
girls.
up.
And for the idol part, we based them off the most famous horses in Japan, while also making them sing and dance, because why not? Now, be honest, if you were one of those people listening to this pitch, would you have signed off on this? Because it obviously sounds
Yes.
ridiculous, right? Most
All in
people
red.
probably wouldn't have. But Cygames had top-tier drugs in their office because you know what? They said yes. They then wasted no time getting started on developing the game, revealing it for the first time on the 21st of August 2016 at the Anime Japan Expo. Excitement for this game was actually already starting to build up, and that made more people want to know more details about Uma Musume. So on January 2017, the main content producer of Cygames, Akihiro Ishihara, was asked a bunch of different questions during an interview, and one of them was, please tell us about the development status. And he said, this game is about 25% complete. Keep that number in mind. But for now,
25.
this interview had also revealed many of the horse girl designs, as well as the famous horses they're based on. It seemed like they knew what they were doing. And they had learned their lessons with Bandai Namco. They were going the idol
Oh my
master
God.
route, not just aiming to make one good game, they wanted to make a media empire around Uma Musume. So just a couple months after that interview in March 2017, they released a manga. But they weren't done yet because they wanted to adapt
I
this
saw some of
manga
the
into
episodes
an
in the anime. I need to
and were
finish
going
it.
to enlist the studio PA Works to do it. The plan was to release this anime in 2018 in parallel to the game's release. That way both would help each other and they would start off with a strong symbiotic media empire. That was the plan, except nothing, and I mean nothing in regards to release dates went according to plan. The Uma Musume Pretty Derby anime would release on April 1st, 2018. It wasn't just limited to
Oh
Japan.
my God,
it
Creepy
had a
Wario is there.
simulcast with Crunchyroll in select regions of the world. It was almost an instant success. Similarly to how people love the idea of cat girls, the idea of horse girls was also very well received.
I can't get the theme song out of my head. Is anyone getting the Uma Musume ads? And you start hitting, it's like, oh my God, that's like stuck in my head right now. They know how to get you addicted. It's like, yo, let's go gambling. It's in there. What's in my brain right now? It's just horse.
Received. But a couple of aspects that it was really praised for were one, its attention to detail, and two, its very skilled world building. But we'll get to that later. Right now, there's more pressing concern going on. As the anime was running, the game would release 3 more teasers on April 19th. It showcased a race, a live show, and a story/training section. I can't show you those videos because they've been privated, but overall, it seemed like everything was going according to plan, with the game scheduled to release around the end of 2018. This would be confirmed again on July 2018, with yet another trailer showing off the game and its mechanics, announcing at the end that it was going to release at the end of 2018. As people were waiting, wondering when the game was going to come out, Cygames took their sweet time and only announced on December 15th, 2018, literally the end of the year, that Uma Musume Pretty Derby has been delayed in order to raise the game's quality, saying that they will reveal the new release period at a later date. I mean, okay, not a big deal. I mean, it would have been nice if you told us earlier, but one delay doesn't hurt, especially if the game's going to be better for it, right? Well, the game got delayed again in 2019. And the new release date was slated to
Thank
be
you for Cora for the information. I'll help you with that in a bit.
Is a publicly listed company, and just like any publicly listed
Cyber
company,
mention.
they would have shareholder meetings. So in their third quarter shareholder meeting in 2020, they
Saying the horse
re-emphasized
is
to their
here.
investors that Uma Musume Pretty Derby was going to be released in 2020, confirming that fact. Just a couple of months
The game came out in
May 2020,
Japan,
the managing director
actually,
of Cygames
the gacha one.
confirmed yet again that Uma Musume Pretty Derby was releasing in 2020. But then we got to December 2020 and the game was nowhere to be found. But yet again, in the final shareholder meeting of the year on December 12th, investors...
I do remember, I said this game came out in Japan. What I mean is, I remember there were friends around me who were big fans of this franchise, and they're like, I can't wait for this game to be ported in English. I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait. This gacha has been out for almost like 5 years. And then now it just came out and boom, explosion.
Will be told that this game is still on track to release in 2020, but there were 2 weeks left in the year. It was safe to say that after previous delays, people weren't just thinking, oh, this game's going to be delayed again. They were also thinking, is this game ever going to release? How can you say in an interview in the beginning of 2017 that the game's almost 25% done with a 2018 release date, and yet here we are 2 years later, barely able to make the release? Usually this means that the game has no direction, that Cygames is dealing with an internal disaster. And what really reinforced this narrative is the fact that the game didn't even come out in 2020. We had reached 2021 and the game still had not released yet. It was only on February 24th, 2021 that the game had finally released in Japan. And while it was cool that the game had finally come out, people didn't really know whether to be excited or worried, especially with how Cyberpunk 2077 had released just a couple months earlier, and even though it's been delayed multiple times, had one of the worst launches in history. But you know what? As hard as it was to believe, this was not the case.
Metroid Prime in a nutshell.
People were so addicted to the damn thing, they couldn't stop playing. The gameplay loop definitely took inspiration from their work on Idolmaster. Your horses, or horse anime girls, would have 5 different stats that you would train them on. You'd also have many different minigames and many ways to interact with your roster. You would then have your horse, or horse
The
girl,
mechanics are a little strange to understand.
Others in a bid to win first
the
place.
whole legacy
These
thing
races would make your heart beat like crazy because there was always a chance that one of the horse girls could use a special ability, including your own, like you're seeing right here. You could be losing a race, and then your horse will all by themselves decide to do this in order to win. It just depends on their mood and how you've treated them. One could even say that this was more exciting than IRL horse racing thanks to all these factors. But the game wasn't over with just one horse girl. Eventually, that horse girl would
mysteriously,
retire, like
mysteriously out of nowhere, remember the stars and then start sprinting.
Horses, kicking off the inheritance mechanic just like real life. Here's an example. This is the family tree of the very famous horse, Goldship. As you can see, this is probably more complex than my own family tree, and I'm a human. It rivals the family tree of like some royalty from the 1600s or something. This is all done with the goal of creating the most genetically engineered monster that can dominate any race. And that's what you kind of do in Uma Musume as well. The hard work that you put into your now retired horse girl can now be incorporated into your new horse girl by using her as one of her coaches. So in a way, you also become more of a genetic scientist and try to create the perfect horse girl after many different runs. This gameplay loop was so addicting, it was like playing a Civilization game, screaming one more turn as the police is confiscating your phone from you because you haven't eaten in 3 days. People couldn't stop playing it. But as this game became so popular
That's
in Japan,
insane, though.
it started somewhat suffering from success, you could say. You see, usually, the people who own some of the best racehorses in the world happen to be some very wealthy and successful people. Seeing that Uma Musume's characters are based on real-life horses, they had to go and ask each of these owners their permission to have them in the game. The owners agreed to do
Sugar,
that
that's called
free of
locking
charge,
in.
not
You are
charging
locking
any
in so
money.
hard.
This was seen as a very cool and kind gesture from them. But here's the thing, these weren't just horses, these were anime girls that were in many cases pretty. And usually when you present Japan with a pretty anime girl, they will instinctively almost want to draw some pretty lewd fan art. That was a problem. Cygames knew it was a problem, so they created very specific fan-created content guidelines, outlining rules, saying you can't make fan art with the intent to injure the reputation of this franchise or other third parties. You can't do any lewd stuff, you can't do any violent stuff. The owners of these horses did not want to see their horses participate in anything like that. It was a red line for them, but that...
This is something that I can probably relate to as a VTuber, by the way. The guidelines for work and stuff like that. Look, you can never stop a fan from doing whatever the hell they want, especially in this world of, absolute freedom. You can do whatever the heck you want. And in a nutshell, that shouldn't be a problem. And I say that with the biggest quotations in the world. But at the same time, just be respectful to the creators, developers, living people who are behind all of these kinds of works, and just be responsible with the work you put out there as an artist. I have no issues with how people draw me. I've seen so many really, really like raunchy art of myself. I have no problem. If anything, I appreciate a lot of it, and I always and encourage it and endorse it about myself. But I also have strict sayings when it comes to like putting me together with another creator, because another creator can be a VTuber. And it's weird because a lot of people represent themselves to their VTubers, and a lot of VTubers, like to respect that everyone has their own unique guidelines. As fans, realistically, someone is not able to do, control all of this. Just be responsible. We just beg the fans to be responsible. And yeah, that's just my own saying. So I completely understand this. I saw people on Twitter going like, no one will stop me from doing gold chip stepping on my face and dropping a big log on my head or something. It's like, yeah, you are being very disrespectful. Keep that to yourself. You don't have to like advocate, and just yell it into the void. No, there's been some really awful stuff that I've seen people going like, oh my god, what a company to tell us to not draw the characters like this. Don't they like fan art? It's like, no, they don't know it. There's a lot of out of touch peoples. But when it comes to, yeah, I don't know why I went with that specific example, but I was just saying one that I actually saw, and it was insane. It was crazy. Meanwhile, the gold chip art animations are about punching and kicking the trainer. Because, at least that, it makes sense. It's just memes and funs. But you got to be careful. What are the communities that I'm in? That's just things that I saw. You'll probably see it in videos like this. That kind of information.
Didn't necessarily make people want to listen. Now, of course, usually, if you were to break these rules, Cygames would just send you a takedown notice and sue you if you don't comply. But of course, this would be too boring for a franchise like Uma Musume. So some people came up with a rumor that now is regarded as truth in many different circles and has spread like
That's a good point, Jade. They don't own the characters.
If you draw any lewd art of Uma Musume girls, the Yakuza will knock on your door and hurt you. Okay, so as far as I can tell, this all started with this stupid tweet. A Japanese person tweeted this out, saying, the reason why Japanese artists can't draw Uma Musume porno art is that Uma Musume is based on real racehorses and their owners are like mafia bosses who control the Japanese economy and we don't want to offend them. This was tweeted on March 11th, 2021, so very shortly after the game released. Now, I don't know how much attention this initial tweet got.
Yeah, no, that's not a rumor. It's pretty much a reality at this point. That all of this it's like that. It's like Jade said, like, in this case, this game, Uma Musume, Derby did not create these characters. They're inspired by the real horses, and they're so attached to it that you just have to be very careful.
But what really brought attention to this was the second tweet this person would make, saying, please retweet as much as you can for people overseas. It included that original tweet and another image, with that person saying, the content of the tweet and the image is complete bullshit. It is a falsehood that amounts to defamation of the racehorse owners. I have insulted the owners of racehorses and other people involved in horse racing, as well as the staff of the Uma Musume project. Racehorse owners are people who are sincerely committed to the culture of horse racing. They are not involved in antisocial organizations.
Yeah, it's so scary how close
complicit the prohibition of
the horse is to
significantly worsen the image of the project.
The character in the game is related to the horse.
This is all due to my short-sightedness and arrogance. I would like to express my deepest apologies to everyone involved and to all those who have supported me. So this apology was definitely overkill to the initial tweet. It was clearly like some kind of a joke, I guess. It was almost like this person had, I don't know, murdered someone. This made people assume that this person got caught by the Yakuza and forced, right, at gunpoint to make this apology, because that's what it sounds like. As you can see here, the top comment is, "So they found you?" And the person said, "No, it's not. It's just that I made the wrong statement." Someone else said, "I'm guessing they gave you a call." To which this
Blink
person
twice.
said, "No, it doesn't."
If you are being held at
Someone said,
gunpoint.
"I'm sorry to hear that the racehorse mafia got to you. Had no idea Japan even had such an intense culture of racehorsing, let alone one run by gangsters." Then that person replied with, "Please don't tell us such bullshit." This person was so easy to troll. And this eventually got posted on Reddit, ironically saying, "Turns out old-fashioned Yakuza are alive and well in Japanese horse racing industry. They are sending goons to stop doujin artists from making drawings of Uma Musume
They drew the
project
katanas on them.
All of these events have resulted in this becoming a full-fledged meme. Whenever someone mentions, "Man, I'd love to draw these characters in lewd poses," someone always comes in and comments, "Hey man, you don't want to do that. The Yakuza's gonna get you." And while it's funny, it's gotten a lot of people to actually believe it, especially overseas. But the truth is that
No, it's
Yakuza
real. I
don't
believe
own
it.
any of the horses, and that gambling is heavily regulated by the JRA, the Japanese Racing Association. So no, if you draw lewd art, the Yakuza aren't going to knock on your door, but you might
Sure.
get a DMCA notice from a lawyer. But regardless, Yakuza hiccups.
I think more lawyers are closer to the mafia. This is why I still believe the theory. I still believe it in my own way. It's like, oh, what's more dangerous, chat? The mafia, the Yakuza, or the IRS? Which one do you fear most? According to the Joker from the Batman, the IRS is more dangerous. That's the real mafia.
Aside, this game was making bank. In 2021 alone, even though they released 1 month after the year had began in February, they had made over $1 billion. And by March 2025, they had made a total of $2.5 billion since release. This is an insane amount of money, but what's even more insane is that 90% or more of its revenue came purely from Japan. Cygames had the Japanese population in its chokehold. And as I mentioned, these weren't just young adults. There would be endless stories of people going on the metro, going to a restaurant, going outside, and seeing someone way older than them or way younger than them playing this game on their phone. It became cultural. But here's the thing. Japan, even though open to the rest of the
Just
world,
like Pokemon
still
Go.
has a very particular market. Just because something is successful there does not
Uma Musume almost accomplished what Pokemon Go accomplished. Pokemon Go managed to accomplish like a unique unification of planet Earth. Almost did. Uma Musume almost did it.
mean in any way that it'll be successful
It kinda
anywhere
did.
else, especially when it comes to the topic of gacha games. So when it came to finally launching the game globally on June 26, 2025, more than 4 years after launching it in Japan, people didn't really know what to expect. It was reasonable to think that it was going to just die out in a few months, with Japan continuing to be its main revenue source. Except what it did was inconceivable. It was absolutely dominating the Steam charts. As you saw in the intro, it became the #1 most downloaded game on Steam at some point, also becoming an instant success on mobile. But what's really interesting here is that it managed to recreate exactly what happened in Japan, but globally, which was not having a target demographic, reaching everyone.
You have the urge to buy
equally.
grass for
Here's a fun
Hara.
example. Northern Lion is a
Yes.
streamer who's 36 years old.
I hope they
He
get
would
to that.
not in any way be the target demographic of a game like Uma Musume Pretty Derby. No way in hell. But his chat kept pestering him, please
Yo,
download
Jeremy's
the game,
39?
give it a shot. For the love of God, you'll love it. And eventually, he gave in. Now, Northern Lion is a pretty big streamer. He'll usually average around 15,000 viewers. But when he streamed Uma Musume, he had reached his all-time peak of 40,000 live viewers.
Oh my
And you know what the
gosh.
craziest part is? He absolutely loved it, okay? He fell in love with the game, the characters, everything. He even
That
had
is
Japanese
insane.
players seeing some of the reactions from Western players thinking, wow, we gotta up our game because these guys are way more passionate
Funny.
than us. Look at this.
Come on, Goldship, put it into high gear. I need all you got right now. The Kentucky Derby's on the line.
This is making me want
It
to
was,
get
with
back
no
into the game.
exaggeration, taking over the entire internet. And it showed in the stock price of CyberAgent, the parent company of Cygames, with its stock market price going up like crazy. But why is that? How is this game
I need
such
to
a
see more
success,
videos
so
like
highly
that.
rated, both in Japan and overseas? We've established that the gameplay loop is fun, sure, but there are a lot of games like that. This isn't just a game at this point, it's a cultural phenomenon. So what was something that it did that other games weren't even close to achieving? Well, the horses. Alright, so remember how I mentioned that this game's anime was praised for having immense attention to detail and world building? Well, the game was very similar in that regard too. Seeing that all these anime horse girls were based on real life horses, Cygames did their homework and examined every single horse and its very specific personality, incorporating all these aspects into their anime character. But that's not all. When it comes to the world of Uma Musume, many things in there were
It's
based
con.
on
I like it.
locations,
I actually like reading the
racetracks,
stories.
and areas around
Lots of
it.
people
We're
skip it.
talking anything from train stations to the convenience store where the horse girls buy their carrots. This wasn't just attention to detail, this was making landmarks out of IRL locations and attributing important history to them. Additionally, this world wasn't just made in like one evening. It made sense, and that's because its world building was very well made. Horse girls in this world are seen as a different type of species. They're treated as well as humans, there's no discrimination, and instead they have a real place in this world. With certain gadgets, for example, made specifically for
The
them. Look
phone,
at this extremely long
it's
phone.
so big.
To accommodate her
I
horse
lo-
ear and her mouth. I mean, look at this stupid seat right here. It's made specifically for horse girls so that they don't get uncomfortable with their tails. There's even historical
That's
landmarks
cute.
in the anime, like how there are Moai statues on Easter
Moai
Island with
spotted!
horse girls. They even took famous Japanese horse racing paintings and converted them to accommodate the world. As you can see, these are horse girls racing here. So from a world point of view, this already made sense. The attention to detail was there. And so when it came
My
to the
favorite
actual
VTuber,
personalities
Majiro
of each
McQueen.
horse, guys, they couldn't have done a
Major
better job.
McQueen!
For example,
Major
one of the most
McQueen!
famous horses
Major
in Japanese
McQueen!
racehorsing history is Goldship. This is
It
a
really
horse who
pumps
ran
you up.
28 races and won 13 times. An incredible record. But what really made Goldship famous is that he was an absolute diva with a ridiculously unique and rage-baiting
Goldship.
personality.
Goldship
In 2015,
mentioned.
Goldship had a total of 12 billion yen betted on him. People were confident that he would win just like he won his other races. What we got instead was the day known as the
12 billion yen incident.
when he would do this. Watch.
Gochi just being Goldship. Oh, you were expecting me to win the race?
He would
What if I
simply
fuck around?
refuse to race. Everyone would go except him. He didn't care. He just didn't feel like it, and so he didn't race, losing people 12 billion yen in bets.
Oh
Now,
my
this is how
god.
Goldship would look in the game and in general in the Uma Musume universe. They would recreate the same incident in the anime series. Watch.
負ける気がしねえ真似すんじゃねえよ
And just so you know, they brought back the same exact woman who was casting that day to voice in the anime. Guys, the attention to detail is ridiculous.
That's
seeing that Goldship
amazing.
was an absolute diva, yet at the same time very skilled. Cygames made sure to incorporate
I
that
love
into Uma
Goldship.
Musume Pretty Derby. She'd be very skilled, very talented, and yet would have crazy mood swings, refusing to train, and sometimes, even though having the best stats, would just refuse to race, like they're not giving a single shit. This eccentric personality would so accurately be translated into the game that it would create a new overseas fan club for this IRL horse. I mean, look at this. This is a video of Goldship in retirement, literally just hanging out. It has over 2.2 million views. This is just
Hell
a
yes.
horse hanging out for 2 minutes, not doing anything except floating around. That's how much of a sensation
We need live stream of just a camera pointed at the farm, just recording Goldship. I used to watch like videos like that about deers.
became because of this game and his history. I mean, look, most people would have just stopped there and moved on to a different topic, but not with me, you won't. Goldship's personality wouldn't just end with him being a diva. He would also be one of the most successful breeders, with a successful mating rate of 99.1%, having over 500 children, with a few of them becoming absolute champions. In fact, according to some staff, after he would finish mating with a mare,
What the
he
heck?
would then refuse to mate with anyone else but Goldship. That's just how good he is, man. But I guess
Oh
it
my
also explains
god!
why he enjoyed it.
Giga Chad Goldship. 500 kids, and then other horses would refuse to mate with any, if it wasn't Goldship. What in the hell? The absolute Giga Chad Goldship.
So much.
This
He would
horse was
swing his
something else.
cucumber from side to side because of how excited he was. Okay, I know this is like a ridiculous amount of detail, but people look into this. That's how obsessed they are with Goldship. This isn't just because he was skilled or a massive diva. He was a rage baiter, like the whole 12 billion yen incident, but also the fact that his trainers realized that, wait a second, In his retirement, he's running even faster than he used to run back when he was still a racehorse, making them realize that he never used his full potential while being a racehorse, almost as if on purpose to spite his trainers. This made people realize that horses aren't just creatures that we share a special connection with. They also have many unique and diverse personalities. Most people have a hard time seeing that though, because
some of them are
we don't
very
really
smart
interact with horses that much anymore. So turning them into anime horse girls with proper world building around them made us finally appreciate their very deep and valuable personalities. And no one received more appreciation than the horse Haru Urara. You see, when she was young, she would go unsold at an auction. Seeing that no one wanted to buy her, she was entrusted to the cheapest racecourse to run in Japan. Her trainers thought that this would be a good chance for her to maybe win since she had a hard time training. But then she went on to lose 113 races in a row.
Poor baby!
However, when she had lost her 87th race in a row, the race announcer, Koji Hashiguchi, would be absolutely shocked at this statistic. He was like, dude, this like never happens. Most horses would have given up by now. They would have retired. So he sent her racing record to national media outlets thinking, dude, this is insane. Like, you got to talk about this. And they did, which made her ridiculously famous. People started going in droves to where she raced. The
never give up. She never did.
The people who rode the horses took advantage of
never
this and
kill yourself, Chad.
And get this. At a certain point, people would go to this race course just to bet on Haru Urara, knowing very well that they were going to lose, but they would love that because
this horse is a
betting ticket as a
this horse is the best story of motivation ever. Never give up.
Arm for car accidents. They believed that it held special powers, bro. You understand what I'm talking about here? This horse had superstitions made around it. I mean, this was such a big boom that Haru Urara had single-handedly saved the Kochi racecourse from going bankrupt. They were able to pay off all their debts thanks to her. And today, as you can see, Haru Urara is painted on
she's a hero.
That's how much of a legend she is. Seeing that she's in the game of Uma Musume Pretty Derby, this prompted both Japanese and global players to select her to try and give her the win that she so very deserved in real life, making her one of the most popular characters in the game. This renewed attention from the global audience with their love for Haru.
Just for that, they should give her like an alternative. You know how some gacha games have like an alternative like player that it's just like the protagonist, like a what if scenario. They should make her the best. They should make her like they should make like a legendary version of Haru, and it should just be like you know, the unseen champion from another world, Haru alternative skin, and it's the best horror ever. Protect at all costs.
Urara eventually allowed them to find out that
she
they could
finally
send
got a dub
gifts to her in her retirement because she's still alive. They could send her some premium ryegrass directly. They sent 2.7 tons of ryegrass. Usually one person could buy $40 worth, which is 5 kilograms.
I need to feed the horse, Chads. Someone give me some bits so that I can give them to Haru immediately.
Ash the donation website, and now we're sitting at 2.7 tons. This is an image of this little cutie receiving her gift.
We need to buy some. Let's go. Thank you.
Fan art of this phenomenon. I mean, look at how much ryegrass is in front of her. She has enough food until end times. 2.7 tons. You're insane. In fact, thanks to this game and its renewed attention on these horses and their accomplishments, many of them, who are now in retirement, are receiving many donations, able to fully enjoy their older years. This is because this game didn't just make a lot of money and renew interest in horse racing, but it has single-handedly revitalized the entire horse racing industry globally, specifically in Japan. In the world of horse racing, sometimes, unfortunately, racehorses are not able to retire. This can happen for a number of reasons, but usually it's because there's not enough funding. Back when this game released in Japan, it fueled a movement of people donating to many of these famous retired horses, ensuring that they not only live a good life, but that they can continue to live in general.
That's good. That's so good.
Fun if you just have money.
At least they're taking care of the horses.
When you still
usually you hear jokes about like, I'm gonna turn you into glue or I'm gonna put you down, and I know that that's very real. If a horse has like a broken leg and someone doesn't want to take care of them because it's a liability to their income, then unfortunately they get put down. But in the case of these horses, you know, if they grow up to become a legend, respect them. They're living beings as well.
Socially, many of these retired racehorses started receiving visitors, so much so that Uma Musume had to release an official guideline on how to visit stables and what to do in order to be respectful. For famous horses such as Haru Urara or Goldship, visits sell out immediately as soon as they're posted. This has led some crazy, ridiculous fans to sneak onto the stable ground sometimes just to see the horses, with Cygames completely denouncing that and saying you shouldn't do that, stop. But that wasn't all. Cygames was making a lot of money from this game, and they understood that there's a mutual benefit here. If horse racing thrives, they thrive too. And so the president of cyber agents, Susumu Fujita, has become a high roller when it comes to buying expensive horses and raising them for races, always being one of the leading buyers when it comes to horse auctions in Japan. So far, he has spent easily over $10 million making up his own fleet of racehorses.
Oh my
He's
God,
not planning
it's
on
serious
stopping
business.
anytime soon. But this isn't just about Japan. This is about horse racing globally. In May of this year, they had announced a partnership with the 151st Kentucky Derby, the most
Gaming is
watched
the
and
future.
most attended horse race in the United States, taking place since the year 1875. And you had this anime girl horse racing game being their biggest sponsor. This also extends to Paris. As you saw in the intro, they're not just sponsoring the Grand Prix de Paris, but they're the main sponsor. And I mean, look, if you show me an image of
I've
horse
never ridden
racing,
a horse,
I probably would think,
unfortunately.
"Oh, cool." But if I was a young person
I'm too much of a
and saw
coward.
poster like this, I think, whoa, whatever this is, I want this. Where
But
can I
they're
get
cute.
tickets? It's an extremely mutually beneficial partnership. Additionally, racehorsing merchandise has had a boom in Japan ever since the game had come out, truly turning this into an animal idol industry. These dolls,
I have
for
a horse
example,
plushie.
they sell out like crazy. It's actually very hard to get them, especially if you're outside of Asia. Actually, I think they're keychains, but you get the point. Cygames was essentially making a lot of money from this, but they were using it for good things, making this industry a better place, helping treat retired horses even better.
You have
and in
horses?
general,
That's
being a positive
awesome.
force in the community. This reminds me how at some point Hoyoverse, the creators
Give
of
them a
Genshin
hug
Impact,
for
had
me.
invested in a nuclear fusion reactor, and in 2024 it
What
became
the heck?
operational. Who would have thought that you spending money on characters in a gacha game was going to end up somehow in a nuclear fusion reactor in Singapore? Overall, this
Well, it's
industry
like
is
Fortnite.
revived. It's back.
Apparently, there are some developers and owners of, of course, it's another form of investment, but at the same time, some of them do have some other intentions. And I think this is a story that I believe happened quite a while ago. But when Fortnite got the big boom, when it was when it became one of the most popular games of all time, the creator of Fortnite like saved an entire like forest using the funds for Fortnite. And then I think the forest has his own name on it now. Like, hey, you funded the protection of all these trees and the entire forest, and that's amazing.
Audiences now feature women, young people, middle-aged people, demographics that horse racing usually wouldn't be able to reach. This has already been happening in Japan, and I'm sure it'll start happening globally thanks to this game. I can't help but laugh when I say this, but it's true. This anime girl horse racing gacha game has somehow been able to single-handedly revive this entire sport while somehow making the world a better place. It's crazy, but it's where we are today. I hope I was able to explain why this game took over the world and why it's continuing to, and I really appreciate you watching until the end. This is a fairly different video from what I usually do on my channel, but hey, I figured it would be fun. Now, the sponsor does want me to end this video with a message, so before I'll do that, I'll thank you again, say that I love you, and mwah, see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. As a reminder, you
Yo,
can get 100,000
thanks.
Civil Alliance, premium vehicles, 7 days premium account, and much more.
I
If you're a
appreciate the
returning player that
American
hasn't played
flag
for
in the
over 6 months, or
background.
if you're a new player,
How
you're welcome to
patriotic,
this pledge
Mujin.
both PC and console. So
You got
click
that.
the link in the description or the pinned comment to download it for free today.
Never give up, chat. Never kill yourself. Words by Haru Urara. Amazing video, honestly. Mujin always makes the best.